emphasize on India's naval preparedness in the Arabian Sea and how Karachi could have been the target had Pakistan not stepped back, had Pakistan not gone ahead with a de-escalation. I do want to take in a word from Siddhant Mishra, who joins us with more details. Siddhant, this is, what we picked up from the press conference that was held just a short while ago. So important takeaways. One is, of course, India's air arsenal being put to use in destroying, one military installation in Karachi, coupled with what the Navy had planned, was fully militarily prepared in the Arabian Sea with its best defense positions to take on Pakistan. So how do we piece the two of these inputs together?
Well, yes, that's right. In fact, now this confirmation is coming that Mali cantonment in Karachi was hit. Perhaps we have been told that it's an air defense base of military establishment, and this was also struck by the Indian Armed Forces. In fact, this confirmation is coming from the Indian Armed Forces. In fact, there's a press conference also yesterday in which they said it, and today the maps which were shown had this particular location highlighted. So by that it's kind of a confirmation coming that this particular installation key, Pakistani Army installation, was also struck by the Indian Armed Forces. There is very little we know about this place, perhaps, and how this was done. As far as Navy's preparedness is concerned, perhaps it was a coordinated effort by all the three armed forces, and in fact from last 2 days we have been seeing that all the three forces representatives do the press briefings. So Navy at that point in time was on the forward locations in the sea. Perhaps they were all prepared for to take on the enemy. They were all prepared to attack the enemy. Perhaps that has somewhere built a psychological pressure on the Pakistani side, because they knew that Indian Navy is on the standby. They are fully prepared, and also it goes without mentioning that Indian Navy is perhaps far more superior than the Pakistani Navy. Perhaps India is net security provider in the Indian Ocean, and perhaps they know that they cannot take on Indian Navy. So that perhaps helped somewhere to build psychological pressure on the Pakistanis, and in fact they were also fully prepared and on standby around Karachi port and the key installations. So perhaps that is what we could understand by the briefings that the Indian Armed Forces have done in last 2 days, that how the Navy was really instrumental in building psychological pressure on the Pakistanis, because the one particular domain was there was also an effort given by Pakistanis to protect Karachi port and nearby key installations because of the positioning of the Indian Navy. So that really helped, and as I said, that they were fully prepared also. If required, they would have perhaps attacked.
So this talks about a two-pronged strategy that the Indian Armed Forces, Siddhant, could have deployed. I do want to take in a word from Akash as well. Akash, on one hand, the Indian Air Force confirming of destroying air defense installation in Karachi's Malir cantonment, and had Pakistan not backed off, had Pakistan not stopped with its drone and missile attacks, the Indian Navy was as ready. Operational readiness that's being spoken of. So give us a sense of what this would have meant for Pakistan in a situation where we would have not seen the de-escalation that we see today.
Right, so Malir cantonment area is around 35-40 kilometers away from the main city of Karachi, and there Pakistan has got air defense systems like HQ-9. Indian Armed Forces in fact have confirmed this to Siddhant now, that how this system was in fact destroyed, and this destruction is sending a larger message of carrying out strikes inside at least 150 kilometers of Pakistan. Now, while we say that Navy was all set, all ready to destroy the Karachi port, we know that how Indian Air Force on the other side was striking, was striking on Malir cantonment. Malir cantonment, plays an important role also because the sort of air defense system that they have, the HQ-9, is catering to the southern border, the southern part of Pakistan. Now, as far as Indian Navy is concerned, so we know it was a joint effort by the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force, but Indian Navy was fully prepared. and it is also because of the fact that they have got several sort of inductions in the past screen that are somewhere talking about the sort of capabilities that they have. They have INS Vikrant, they have the entire battle group. When we say battle group, we know that how one aircraft carrier is there, then a number of frigates are there, a number of corvettes are there, a number of planes are there, helicopters are there, and then submarine is also there. So a number of platforms who are there in the Northern Arabian Sea to tackle any sort of threat that is coming towards them, and they were also prepared. In fact, a detailed plan was given to NSA. This is what has been reported by our investigation editor Manoj Gupta. As far as this Malir cantonment is concerned, so we know about several sort of destructions that Indian Air Force and in fact Indian Armed Forces have carried out, including the Noor Khan Air Base and in fact at other locations as well, in Murid Ke and other locations as well. But Karachi is also important because Karachi is the biggest city with a lot of economical activities, a number of supply chains, trade happening from there. So just assume the condition when you are just blocking the entire navy passage for Pakistan, and then the condition of Pakistan. As of now, you have blocked the waters, and in fact you have regulated somewhere the water that is going towards them, and you are not sharing the data, and we know the kind of consequences that they are facing. Imagine the sort of problem after the naval blockade. So a number of things are there, a lot of things are there for the messaging as well. So this was a larger message sent by the Indian Armed Forces, specifically in the press conference where the Navy officer, the 3-star officer from Indian Navy, categorically mentioned that how they were prepared. They carried out the BrahMos missile test, just few days ahead of the sort of operation that they were planning to carry out on the day. And in fact, they were constantly firing the missiles and were carrying out the sort of tests in the Arabian Sea. In fact, just before the day when the strikes were carried out.
Okay, all right. So that's as far as the operational readiness or preparedness is concerned. Akash, stay on with us. I do want to go across to Arunima as well. Arunima, before we try and take in expert comments on what this means for the Indian military strategy, at least to the point that ceasefire wasn't discussed, what do you make of the press conference that took place just a short while ago? The intention was very clear. Once again, military personnel of the Indian Armed Forces reiterating that the intention is not to hold anything against the Pakistan army, that their target or the fight is not with Pak army but with terrorists operating out of Pakistan's soil. But they've also given details of the extent of damage that Pakistan has had suffered, and with proof, once again with satellite images and with photos and images of the debris and wreckage recovered.
I think the central theme of today's press briefing was that we wanted to target terror infrastructure. Our fight was against terrorism and terrorists, but because Pakistan threw its military might behind Jaish-e-Mohammed and behind Lashkar-e-Toiba, once again, we had no option but to do the needful. The very start of the press conference was a montage with an embedded audio which said, "Jab nash manuj pe chhata hai, pehle vivek mar jata hai." It's a very famous poem which takes its cue from Mahabharata. That when you have decided to take the wrong decision, there's nothing that can help you, and that theme remained throughout the press conference, where both the Air Force, the Navy, as well as the Indian Army officials said that our attack, our strike was against Bahawalpur, was against Murid Ke. We had carefully chosen the kind of ammunition to avoid collateral damage, and we were okay with ending the hostilities right there. It was Pakistan which forced us to take further action by sending in swarm of drones, by attacking our air bases, and then when we retaliated, and that's when evidence was put out of the Noor Khan air base, of the Rawalpindi air base, how the runway was damaged, how even in Karachi, in air installation near Karachi also targeted, was confirmed today. So there's evidence being put out that whatever DG, ISPR and the military establishment in Pakistan might try and do as part of its propaganda to the international media, here is the proof that we have successfully managed to put a deterrent for Pakistan, and that was the three-tier objective. One, to destroy terrorist hubs. Second, to send in a political message by striking deep inside Pakistan. And third, by setting a deterrent. And all three have been achieved.
Okay. Thank you for that, Arunima. I do want to go across to Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, who's joining us on the broadcast. A very good afternoon to you, sir. What do you make of the details so far that have been shared by the top military officers? You know, we saw in the press conference the intention once again being laid out by the Indian Armed Forces that the fight we're fighting is against terrorists and not the Pak army, yet Pakistan continues to provoke, be the aggressor, to which we're having to respond with equal force, perhaps more force. But General Kulkarni, what I want to understand is what was specifically spoken of by Vice Admiral Pramod, and find it specifically interesting given how a lot of emphasis was put on Karachi. The Navy's carrier battle group, submarines and aviation assets, he said, had been deployed outside the harbour in Karachi to pin down Pakistan maritime forces, sir.
I think that was a huge achievement because it had happened in 1971 war also, when the Navy had done a similar exercise in which they had almost cordoned off the Karachi port, and now again they were in the Arabian Sea. Should Pakistan have done anything, they were there to react and come very heavily on it. But as that moment didn't turn up, otherwise, of course, all of it was there, and suppression of the air defenses. Should they have done it, because Karachi has a good air defense, and that I understand had got destroyed.
Yeah, they destroyed the air defense installation in Mali cantonment. Yes, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is something which is unique. But I think if the synergy, the jointmanship by the Navy, Air Force and the Army exhibited during Operation Sindoor is a classic example as to how together we can actually exterminate terror, and that is what the whole fight is all about. So we have to do away with terrorism, which is emanating from Pakistan, but should Pakistan interfere as a state to fight